Hello there, my RPG lovers, and welcome to another video. Enshrouded is an open-world survival game with base building and RPG elements. This game has some very good reviews on Steam, it's currently very positive, I believe, and it's for a good reason. They just released a massive content update called Thralls of Twilight, or Update 6. This is a huge content update which brings brand new gameplay features like new night gameplay, new enemies, locations, gem crafting system for the weapons, and a lot more smaller improvements. In this video, we're going to talk about all of these major features from the newest update, and I'm going to highlight everything you should know before diving back into this amazing open world survival game. The newest update is also a great reason for trying the game out for the first time ever, because the game got bigger and better in general. You can buy Enshrouded by checking the link in the video description or in the pinned comments. This is a sponsored video by Keen Games, so huge thanks to them for reaching out to the channel and sponsoring the video. Now let's start by talking about one of the best features from Update 6. The world map in Enshrouded feels more dynamic during the night in the newest updates. One of the reasons for that is the enemy patrol that roams the world at night. You can stumble upon them by just exploring the map at night, or they can just find you. Defeating these patrols can grant you some great rewards. The visuals are updated as well, which gives the amazing feel to the atmosphere of the game, especially in shroud areas. Speaking of which, these zones have denser fogs now, and some other lighting tweaks, which improves the overall visuals of the game. The night gameplay also brings some special temples that are locked behind a night door, which can only be opened at night with a special key that you need to craft. While exploring the map at night, you'll find other items which are only obtainable at night, like plants and insects, consumables and foods. So there are plenty of reasons why you should try to explore the world at night. It can be dangerous for sure, especially if you're not prepared, and I did die quite a bit while checking out all of these new features. Not necessarily because of the night time, but because of the new enemies within the most dangerous shroud areas on the map. Which brings us to all the new changes and features in shroud areas. If you're a new player, here's some context behind this. These shroud areas are the most dangerous places on the map, and you have a limited amount of time to explore them before suffering some big penalties. However, you can gain some amazing rewards for a character by defeating the enemies within the shroud and opening chests. Update 6 has brought us new shroud locations, numerous visual upgrades to existing settlements and underground locations, and a lot of new enemy types to fight. There's a lot more that I won't even get to cover in this video. Yeah, these patch notes are freaking ridiculous. But shroud areas are not the only locations which received a major facelift treatment. A lot of other locations in the open world also got updated and tweaked in order to make them feel more realistic. They made sure to create a smoother transition to the shroud areas as well. Although in my opinion, the best way to enter most shroud areas is by gliding from a very high spot. I mean, it's maybe not the best, but it's certainly the coolest way to make an entrance. It's something that I did a lot while checking out the new update, and you can probably see why. It looks pretty damn cool. Once you start exploring these shroud areas, only then you'll see how much they improved. Now they feel like a unique ecosystem within this world, basically. You'll find a lot of new crafting recipes within these zones and 28 new crafting resources. The visual customization got a major upgrade by including a new armor coloring station and items. Now you can find items for armor tinting, which allows you to change the color of armor sets and vanity items. There are 40 different color palettes that you can make and apply to your armor. They also added the option to hide any piece of armor that you have equipped on your character. But that's not all when it comes to visual customization. There is a new barber NPC that can help you with changing, well, everything that you want to change on your character, from new hairstyles, beards, and so on. And last but not least, there are 3 new armor sets in the update: Warrior, Ranger and Mage. Now, all of that was nice, but now let's talk about my favorite feature of the updates. And that will be all the new enemies you can fight in the shroud areas and get that sweet shiny loot. Here are a couple of examples of these fights. As you could see there, Update 6 added a bunch of new enemy types to fight in the shroud areas and different variety of those enemies. Not only for the sake of killing them, of course, you're going to need rare materials in the shroud in order to craft some new enhancements, but more about that soon. You can also get amazing loot by just killing things in the shroud and looting chests, of course. Some fundamental controls in Enshrouded have been improved with this update as well. This game already had some pretty responsive control scheme, but now it's even better, especially with ranged weapons. As for the melee combat, there are a couple of notable changes. For example, the staggering system for enemies have been reworked completely. They also improved the hit reactions to many enemies by adding directional hits for more visually impactful damage feedback. And that's just music to my ears. If you watch my videos, you know I always talk about the importance of hit feedback in games. So any improvements on this field are more than welcome. Enshrouded is quite possibly the most fast-paced survival game that I ever played. I really like how flexible the combat feels and how snappy the character movement is, especially in combat. That's why the jumping attacks and the fast attacks from the dodge feel so good. But you also need to have some decent timing. You'll get hit a lot if you don't pay attention to what the enemy is doing. Some of these new enemies are relentless and they will drain your stamina quickly by forcing you to dodge a lot. So the best defense is a good offense, if you ask me. I started playing especially aggressive once I found a legendary ring within one of the shroud zones. This ring gives me 8% life leech chance, which was basically a game changer for my whole build. I started being a lot more aggressive in fights after I found the ring, even tanking a lot of hits from the enemies. I could even fight a bunch of these tentacles at once and they could barely do any real damage to me. That's not only because of my ring, of course, but I would easily die without that life leech effect. However, even if you have this ring, you still need to be careful against elite and boss enemies because they can basically one or two shot you. I got overly confident a few times and that's why I died, more than a few times. But overall, this one single legendary item I found in the shroud totally changed the way I played the game. Speaking of totally changing your character build, now we finally get to talk about the biggest weapon upgrade system which got introduced in Update 6. Elite and dangerous enemies in general can now drop various weapon gems. They are currently planning to add 22 different weapon gems in total. I got some very nice gems from random drops while clearing various shroud areas. In order to slot these gems into your weapons, the weapons obviously need a gem slot. Then you need to find these special shroud forges in order to upgrade, recycle, slot and unslot gems in weapons. Shroud forges can be found in specific locations within the shroud, and then you need to gather enough resources in order to work with the forge. Naturally, these resources can only be found within the shroud areas, but you really need to prepare your character first. One minor but very cool update from this patch is how the NPCs from the shroud will try to expand the shroud zone, temporarily at least. I think it's a very cool, small feature in the patch, which makes the world feel more immersive and alive. As for the gems, I tried out a couple of them and they have some very cool effects. For example, one of them can give you a very strong AoE ability upon landing. It looks something like this. Or how about this gem of Cold Composure, which enables an ice explosion upon being hit when buffed. Those are just a couple of examples, but you find a lot more gems to experiment with. I used a bow and a staff for ranged attacks quite a bit with my character. Ranged weapons are pretty much essential for dealing with some flying enemies. Speaking of ranged abilities, Update 6 added a couple of new beam channel spells. We could go on and on about new things in Update 6, as you can see from these crazy patch notes on Steam, but it's better to let you discover everything else by yourself while just progressing through the game. I had a ton of fun while trying out these new features. I was actually surprised with the amount of RPG elements in this survival game the first time I tried it out. There are a lot of customization options, the visual progression is amazing, you have various playstyles for a character, and I didn't even talk about the skill tree. Enshrouded has the best combat system out of all survival games that I tried in the past. And all of these new updates just make the game better and better, and I'm pretty sure Keen Games will continue pumping out major patches in the future. And that will pretty much cover all the major features from the newest update for Enshrouded. But of course, you'll find a lot more new stuff and smaller improvements while just playing the game. I just highlighted all the major features. This game keeps getting better and better with each new update, so it's no surprise why it's so beloved by its community. It seems like they've been pushing these major updates every 3 to 5 months, and all of these updates affect the whole game in a major way, which is great to see. Don't forget to use my link if you plan to buy Enshrouded on Steam, you'll find it in video description or in the pinned comments. Once again, huge thanks to Keen Games for reaching out to the channel and sponsoring the video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. And if you want to go a step further, consider supporting your boy by becoming a YouTube channel member or a Patreon. Huge thanks to all my current supporters, and I'll see ya in the next one.